Welcome back, listeners and viewers. It's 6:45. We're now into the nation's business. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
My name is Sanjay Lewis. Bermuda's Home Affairs Minister Alexa Lightburn is on the island for the recently concluded 49th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of CARICOM in Montego Bay, St. James. Minister Lightburn joins us this evening to discuss how Bermuda is keeping businesses and residents safe while promoting growth.
She's responsible for ensuring regulatory frameworks, ensuring consumer protections and affordable environment for businesses and residents. CARICOM is also within her remit. We're also being joined by the Member of Parliament for the constituency number 11, Devonshire East, Christopher Famous. Good evening to you both, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening to you.
Mm-hmm.
So you've come to attend the 49th annual meeting of CARICOM heads. Mm-hmm. What have you made of the proceedings so far, especially considering the areas that we are discussing, matters of national security, regional integration? What have you made of the discussions thus far?
It's always a great opportunity to attend CARICOM, having attended in different capacities in the past. And so this year, I'm attending for the first time attended as a first-time Minister of Home Affairs with responsibility for CARICOM. And Bermuda is seeking to learn from its CARICOM brothers and sisters, recognizing that we have shared experiences, shared history, shared future also. And so there is a value and symbolism and also kind of being a part of the discussions that also we can take back and build on and implement in our communities as well. So it's been great.
And Minister Lightburn, what would you identify then as the key takeaways for Bermuda in terms of advancing regional cooperation, which is so important for us here in the Caribbean?
In short, we are stronger when we're together. And so, we are navigating similar things post-COVID in the various regions. And I am happy to be joined by my colleague, MP Famous, who has also no stranger to these CARICOM forums and is known to have great relationships amongst the other member states. But the value and the takeaway is that there's a level of shared collaboration, shared knowledge, shared ability that we have, and we work together as different regions, but having shared and alike and aligned objectives.
And MP Famous, to bring you in on the discussion, this matter of CARICOM and regional integration, it has been a continual struggle, so to speak, for the region. What do you make of it? Where does Bermuda fall into this matter of regional integration?
Well, we fall right in the center of it, because for those who don't know, Bermuda is the furthest north. The nearest island to us, other island to us, is 800 miles away, which is the Bahamas. So geographically, we are not in the Caribbean region, but culturally, we are as Caribbean as anyone else. Minister Lightburn and myself, we have parentage from Caribbean islands, St. Kitts in particular. The Premier of Bermuda, his mother is from Trelawney. And if you go through the government of Bermuda, majority of MPs have either parentage or grandparents from some Caribbean island or the other. So culturally, we are the same as everyone else. You may speak with a different dialect, and we may pronounce some words differently than you, but we are as Caribbean as you are.
And I suppose many of the challenges faced on other Caribbean islands, it's not much different in Bermuda as well. Matters of national security, the matter of the economy, and the matter of just climate change. I'm sure those issues impact you just as much as they impact us here in Jamaica and other Caribbean islands.
No, definitely. I mean, even as an extension of the Ministry of Home Affairs, energy and how the different member states are ushering in new technologies to both balance and stabilize their energy generation and distribution is what we are too developing and advancing in our context as well. So it is a great opportunity to hear and learn about ways in which we learn from either mistakes and successes of our other sisters and brother jurisdictions to go back home and implement them and learn from those things as well.
And the soundings from the 49th head of government meetings, have you got a positive belief that what you're learning from this meeting will suggest that there is a role for greater integration and deeper coming together of the CARICOM region?
Absolutely, and sure. And, MP Famous, feel free to give your feedback. But for me, definitely, I come away feeling a renewed sense of unity, alignment, and clarity of next steps, clarity of objectives.
Yeah, what you would find if you travel to, for lack of a better term, the smaller islands, i.e. St. Kitts, Tortola, Cayman Islands, Montserrat, Anguilla, I could go on. But what you would find in those islands is there are significant portions of their population from other Caribbean islands. So even without CARICOM, regional integration is going on already. It's just on a formalized tip as far as some want freedom of movement, some would want CSME, some. But regional integration is already in place, right? Jamaica may be one of the few places that a large portion of your population is all native, but most other islands is a composite of Caribbean peoples.
Interesting.
Yeah, and many will say, Minister, that the problems of CARICOM, they're great, and CARICOM often more considered a talk shop than a body that delivers tangible results. How would you respond to those who question the effectiveness of CARICOM, and what concrete outcomes from this most recent meeting, you could say, will show the detractors that it is not so?
Well, I think you see, amongst the, in reflection of the various CARICOM meetings that have taken place, a growing momentum, a growing, confirmation of the things that they would have identified in previous sessions, successfully advancing from the AU CARICOM summit that's coming up, and the commitment to attend CARIFest that's taking place in Barbados. These are things that would have been discussed and advanced in previous CARICOM meetings that we now are seeing the fruits, and they are evolving and developing. And so, these are just a few of the things that we can see quite tangibly, and some other things that are, take a little bit more time, just as any organization that is seeking to ensure that its policies and the things that it's implementing is sure and sound. CARICOM is no different. So I would say that we have enough evidence to support its success and its growing evolution, both locally and in the various islands, but also on an international stage as well.
And Ms. Lightburn, home affairs, that falls on the matters I see here, to keeping businesses and residents safe while promoting growth. And growth has been one of the most elusive things in the Caribbean region. What are some of the challenges faced locally in Bermuda in terms of getting those growth numbers up? And how do you see CARICOM working toward that development, not only for Bermuda, but for the region as a whole?
So cost of living is very much a shared challenge, but it's similarly a shared opportunity. And so a shared opportunity in recognizing that each island has something to offer. And so it's around how do we best synergize to, align resources and facilitate trade opportunities that make sense for both our region. I think we have history of having very specific trade partners, and I think we're seeing the evolution on the world stage of those relationships, and it presents a reaffirmed opportunity for us to kind of work amongst ourselves and see the fruits of kind of the resources that we already have within. And so what does that look like in a way that's sustainable and also makes sense for each of the countries?
And as a member of parliament, Mr. Famous, how do you see that regional development helping your constituents in terms of their goals towards growth and economic development?
All right, so we have to look at Jamaica as an example. What the concerns are for the people in Manchoneo may be different for the people of the concerns in Manchester, right? So some things are not applicable to all things. For Bermudians, which is the remit of Minister Lightburn, the greatest concern is cost of living, i.e. groceries, i.e. housing, i.e. health insurance. Those three are the top three
Electricity.
costs. Electricity as well. So in having connections with CARICOM, I'm also the chairman of the Bermuda Housing Corporation. And we are presently, without calling a name, we are presently exploring a facility in Barbados that could reduce our cost of living. So that's one. As we all know, the Caribbean region imports the majority of the food from abroad.
Yes.
We currently don't have adequate, shipping or air freight facilities to have interregional movement of food. That's something that CARICOM is looking towards, not only because it could lower the cost of food, but you know that you're getting food that's not got GMO. You're getting our people away from the foods that are causing NDCs, non-communicable diseases, NCDs. And so this is where CARICOM as a greater organ comes into play. And there, of course, every organization is going to have challenges. The United Nations has challenges. The EU has challenges. Look, Britain left them, right? You understand? So any global organization you're dealing with different countries with, I won't say different cultures.
Different priorities.
Different priorities. What may be a priority for Jamaica may be a different priority for Cayman Islands. But we get in where we fit in, if you understand. So we as Caribbean people, we're the greatest people on earth. We've survived genocide. We've survived slavery. We're the greatest contributors to culture in the world.
Yeah. And MP Famous, you're onto something, and I'm going to come back to you, Minister, because the movement of not only freight, but people, the intra-regional travel is a big issue. And we hear Mia Motley speak so passionately about it. It's cheaper for Jamaicans to fly to Miami than to fly down to Barbados. Why is it taking us so long to push this matter of regional travel so that people can move among the different CARICOM states? What else can we possibly do?
You want to take that, Minister?
That's one for you, Minister, yes.
For me, apologies. No, I think that this is something that is being actively worked on by the member states. And, I'm confident that, through the knowledge, the decisions, and things will move at a pace that makes sense for both the region and also is country-specific, it's applicable, right? We recognize that there are different things and different needs that are more or less of a priority at different times in the various countries. And so, the discussions were promising. And I think that, in time, the CARICOM Secretariat, through her appropriate mechanisms, will give those announcements as appropriate.
But and just a follow-up, Siobhan, and to you, MP, part of the challenge that we have, too, is that demand. Jamaicans, for example, they tend to want to go up north than to go to the Caribbean region. How then, MP, can we change the mindset of the people? Because you're right, as you said initially, that everyone have different priorities. But engendering that culture where individuals who want to travel to a Barbados, want to travel to a Bermuda as a first option for vacation, rather than the United States or Canada, how can we engender that culture? That's for MP.
Me? Okay,
Yes.
So we have an organ called, all of us, as Caribbean people, have an organ called Caribbean Tourism Association, CTO. The CTO falls under, in Bermuda's context, it falls under the remit of Minister Owen K. Darrell. In Jamaica, the actual chair of the CTO is your current tourism minister.
Edmund Bartlett, yes.
Right? So we as Caribbean people, we have to be our greatest champions of interregional travel. It's not up to our airline. If I say to you, man, come to Bermuda, enjoy our cup match. Cup match is like our version of emancipation. Okay. Somebody encourage me. We have this mindset as, for lack of a better term, melanated people that it's better to go to the lighter countries for vacation. Let's go Europe. Let's go England. Let's go America. But we don't go to Africa. We don't go to the other Caribbean islands, right? And we ourselves have to change that mindset. There's no government that could change the mindset of the people. The people have to uplift themselves, as Bob Marley said, right? We have to see ourselves as worthy of traveling to go see other Caribbean people.
And I'd like to put it to both of you. You first, Ms. Lightburn. is there still a bit of cultural hesitancy on the part of many of the Caribbean nations in terms of deepening integration? Because you don't see it so much championed at levels outside of maybe a parliament or at a regional meeting. Do you believe there needs to be more done in terms of socializing the various Caribbean citizens towards the notion of a Caribbean identity larger and bigger than the simple nation identity of a Bermudan, a Jamaican, a Barbadian?
I think exposure and education is really the recipe for success. You know, when you have the opportunity to share about, you know, your cultural dishes and your heritage or your emancipation celebration that you may all have in your unique countries, but you're celebrated differently. You can see actually this the thread that's kind of very intentionally woven. You can see, you know, our gumbays is a cultural mass troupe, which you can see very clearly in Bahamian history and also in their Junkanu, I believe is Junkanu. Yeah. And similarly, St. Kitts and Bermuda have very strong ties and lots of history as well. And so it's really through exploration, being our own ambassadors of our story and our culture and our heritage, and take the opportunity to both educate and invite others, you know, in engagement to experience and to enjoy. You know, it is a part of our responsibility as our own tourism ambassadors for our countries as well. And so I think there has been, you know, a focus to regional and well, less regional, but more global and international current events that are trending that may be topical. But there's an opportunity for us to equally be interested and equally be focused on learning what's most important to us, where our heritage and cultural synergies lie.
And you, Mr. Famous, what do you say on that matter of cultural integration beyond just national integration?
All right, so have you heard of the British Virgin Islands?
Yes.
Have you ever been there?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, see, yeah, prime example of what we need to work on. So I say that to say, geographically, the Caribbean is many different islands, right? So we got Jamaica way over here in the west. You got Cayman Islands slightly more west. Then you got Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, then Virgin Islands. If you go to the Virgin Islands, 25% of the population is from St. Vincent. Another 25% are from St. Kitts. And then other islands. Only less than 30% of the population are native people. If you go to St. Martin, it's the same. It's this, I guess you'll say, potpourri of Caribbean cultures. And they have their family come to visit them, or they go visit the family in other islands. In the Eastern Caribbean, it's very cosmopolitan when it comes to, there's not no monoculture of one Caribbean, of a Caribbean island where there's only one set of people. But what I would say, and it goes back to our mentality, I would reiterate that we have a mentality that when we say we're going on vacation, we justify it by, the only validated vacation is if you go to Europe, or as if you go to America, if you go to Canada. Where if I took a vacation and went to Borneo, Curacao, that's something new for me, right? But we don't do that enough. We have to, I reiterate, it cannot come down to one single government or governments telling people or advising people to vacation. We have to do it, and the CTO, I think, is starting to understand the importance of interregional travel, because once you have demand, then you have more flights.
Sure. And in addition to tourism, if I may, I think I remember having only visited a handful of Caribbean islands early, you know, when we began to travel, and I found that at each point that I experienced another country, I had a better sense of who I was. I could see the synergies and the alignment of even me and my history and my culture. And I was like, wow, it's also a journey to understand yourself more. And I think when we understand who and what we are as people, it allows us to be proud of it, advocate for it, and be our own spokespeople as well. So it is an individual journey, but it's also a collective journey as well. And so I think through discussing it, ensuring that we educate those who are coming up as the next generation, and so we are no longer the beneficiaries of not being able to tell our stories. We used to be storytellers, and I think through the uptick of storytelling, we are able to continue the dialogue, continue the shared experiences, and also the synergies amongst us.
Yes.
Minister, this is a very touchy one, but I have to go there. The matter of visa restrictions for some of us within the Caribbean to other countries that form part of CARICOM is a very touchy topic. But don't you think that it's time that if we're promoting this idea of regionalism, that we should also remove the visa restriction to enable individuals to move freely within the CARICOM space?
Well, I definitely think that, all matters are worth exploring, recognizing that everything begins because there was usually a challenge that it had to overcome. Rules are not just created in a benign way, but rather focused to support what is a either domestic or national challenge that may be taking place. And so I think, as we are seeking to evolve to a freer place, these are the types of provisions that will be discussed and explored and solutions found, because that is what we seek to do, and we are coming around discussing what we've identified as a shared priority, how we might be able to facilitate that amongst us. So definitely.
And is that a conversation you're willing to go back to have with your government? Because currently Jamaicans need a visa for Bermuda.
No, just for clarity, they need a visa to get to, because Bermuda, there are no direct flights from Bermuda to any Caribbean island. You have to go via either the US, the UK, or Canada. So you have to have a visa in order to get to those countries, correct?
So it's
a transport infrastructure issue.
So it's more of a transit.
Yes.
Okay.
And then that actually raises the question, Sanjay, how do we address things such as that? I mean, we have Caribbean Airlines. Why is that still a matter that you have to find a joining flight outside of the Caribbean to travel between the islands?
And I think to MP Famous's point, the CTO is seeking to do that as part of its strategy. What are the different avenues and levers that can be explored, so that as an extension of our various tourism products, we're also promoting that interregional transport as well. So it is in train based on the different discussions that I've heard. And so I think these are things that we could look forward to, recognizing that everything doesn't happen immediately, but I think there is interest. And so as an extension of that interest, the discussions will evolve.
And I like when you meant, because is it a matter of time? Because when we look at CARICOM and this notion of a CSME, we often go back to the European Union as the model to say that is what we'd like to get to. But I think a lot of people don't realize that the model of the European Union was created over centuries. It wasn't something that just simply magically happened in the 20th century. This was a matter that was discussed as far back when the notion of Christendom was a thing in the European Union, in Europe. So is it just a matter that we don't have the level of time that we need yet before we are more comfortable with the notion of further integration, or is it just a policy issue?
I would say that it's either. I think it is a collection of local challenges as well as local opportunities. And so I think the fact that it is something that is being discussed means it's a priority. And I think that through time, you can refine anything and make anything more evolved, more informed, recognizing that as you continue to understand the matters, understand the different challenges, you can make informed policy decisions that can be eligible to be implemented and implemented well.
Sanjay?
Yeah. So as we move forward and looking just generally, what are your hopes, starting with you, Minister, for CARICOM, coming from this meeting that was held? What do you look forward to going back to your country and extension CARICOM?
So Bermuda at present is an associate member of CARICOM. And so Bermuda has sought to deepen its ties with CARICOM, recognizing that there is a strength in unity, strength in collaboration. We've just kind of riddled some of the things that we could benefit from in terms of trade and understanding, education, collaboration. These are things that we are dealing with domestically, and we don't have to deal with them alone. And so I look forward to the continuation of discussions, the continuation of the requisite negotiations as well to confirm us as full members, but also, the evolution of learning both about the different regions and how we can too provide support to them as well, because we also have things that we can bring to the table that we've learned, and so we are all not navigating these challenges at the same time. We're navigating them often at different points, and so whatever were the shared learnings and lessons from a challenge that another member state may have evolved and done successfully, we can learn and implement as we begin and navigate them. So I look forward to that, and I definitely look forward to strengthening our relationship between Bermuda and CARICOM.
That is Alexa Lightburn. She's the Minister of Home Affairs for Bermuda. And we have with us as well Member of Parliament for constituency number 11, Devonshire East, Christopher Famous. Thank you both for joining us,
Thank you.
and all the best going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.